The FIFA Cover Curse. The FIFA video game series by EA Sports has consistently placed top-tier footballers on its annual cover. But over time, fans began noticing an unsettling pattern. Many of these players experienced a significant decline shortly after appearing on the cover. This pattern has fueled the belief in what is now called the FIFA Cover Curse. Ronaldinho was featured on the cover of FIFA 09, just as he moved from Barcelona to AC Milan. At the time, he was still a global icon, but his physical decline was already beginning. Following his appearance on the cover, his performance levels dropped sharply. His commitment to fitness waned, his impact diminished, and within a few seasons he had exited European football entirely. Kaká, the face of FIFA 11, had recently joined Real Madrid and was considered one of the most elegant midfielders in world football. However, soon after the cover release, recurring knee injuries disrupted his consistency. He struggled to regain form, fell out of favor in the starting lineup, and eventually returned to Milan without ever reclaiming his Ballon d'Or winning influence. Wayne Rooney, featured solo on the cover of FIFA 12, had just come off strong seasons with Manchester United. But following that year, a slow decline began. He remained productive, but signs of wear started to show: nagging injuries, reduced mobility, and mounting pressure. Though he still achieved milestones, his role at United gradually diminished, and he left the club in 2017. Eden Hazard, the sole cover star for FIFA 20, exemplifies the curse most clearly. After a blockbuster move from Chelsea to Real Madrid, his career unraveled. He suffered repeated injuries, struggled with weight and match fitness, and failed to make a consistent impact. Within a few seasons, he had gone from elite winger to squad player, ultimately leaving Madrid with far less than expected. While this pattern may be coincidence, the number of top players who faltered after gracing the FIFA cover is enough to keep the myth alive in football culture. The number 9 shirt curse at Chelsea. At Chelsea Football Club, wearing the number 9 shirt has become associated with failure. Over the past 2 decades, numerous strikers have taken on the iconic number, only to underperform or leave the club prematurely. This has led to widespread belief in a curse surrounding the Chelsea number 9. The pattern began post-Drogba era, when big-name signings like Fernando Torres, who arrived in 2011 for a then-British record fee, failed to live up to expectations. Despite scoring some memorable goals, Torres struggled with confidence and form for much of his Chelsea career. Following him, Radamel Falcao wore the number 9 during his loan spell in 2015 to 2016. Once one of the most feared strikers in Europe, his time at Chelsea was marked by injuries and a lack of playing time. He scored just 1 goal before returning to Monaco. Alvaro Morata, signed for over £60 million in 2017, also wore the cursed shirt. After a promising start, his form collapsed under pressure, and he was loaned out within 2 seasons. More recently, Romelu Lukaku returned to the club in 2021 for nearly £100 million and reclaimed the number 9 shirt. Despite high expectations, Lukaku's performances were inconsistent, and off-field interviews created tension with the club. He was loaned back to Inter Milan within a year. So infamous is this curse that in the 2022 to 2023 season, Chelsea left the number 9 shirt vacant entirely. Players reportedly refused the number, not wanting to inherit its negative legacy. Though logically it could be chalked up to transfer mismanagement or tactical issues, the consistent failures have turned this into one of the most talked about modern myths in club football. The curse of Aaron Ramsey, the death goal theory. One of the eeriest football myths involves Welsh midfielder Aaron Ramsey. The claim is that whenever Ramsey scores a goal, a major celebrity death follows shortly after. This pattern, though statistically coincidental, has occurred often enough to capture public attention and spark widespread speculation. The myth gained traction in the early 2010s when several of Ramsey's goals were followed within days by the death of a well-known figure. For example, Ramsey scored on May 1, 2011, and the following day, Osama bin Laden was reported killed. On October 2, 2011, Ramsey scored against Tottenham. 3 days later, Steve Jobs passed away. He scored again on October 19, 2011, and Muammar Gaddafi died the next day. Further examples include Paul Walker. Ramsey scored on November 30, 2013, Robin Williams, goal on August 10th, 2014, and David Bowie. Ramsey scored on January 9th, 2016. Bowie died 2 days later. Each time, the internet exploded with renewed belief in the so-called curse. Ramsey himself has publicly denied any connection, understandably dismissing the idea as absurd. But fans online have continued to track the pattern, with each new coincidence reinforcing the myth. While it's nothing more than a strange alignment of dates, the sheer number of notable examples has turned this into one of football's most bizarre urban legends, the Drake curse, when rap meets ruin. One of the most unusual modern myths in football involves Canadian rapper Drake. Over the years, fans began noticing a pattern. Athletes and teams who took photos with Drake or wore his merchandise shortly before big matches often went on to lose. This trend became known as the Drake curse. In football, the curse has struck numerous times. In 2019, Sergio Aguero posed for a photo with Drake before Manchester City's Champions League quarterfinal against Tottenham. Aguero missed a crucial penalty in the first leg, and City were eliminated on away goals in dramatic fashion. That same month, Paul Pogba took a picture with Drake just before Manchester United faced Barcelona in the Champions League. United lost the tie 4-0 on aggregate. A few days later, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang met Drake before Arsenal played Crystal Palace. Aubameyang scored, but Arsenal lost the match. The myth intensified as even national teams became affected. England, who had several players meet Drake during his European tour, suffered a shock loss to the Netherlands in the 2019 UEFA Nations League semi-final. The pattern extends beyond football. Fighters like Conor McGregor and Anthony Joshua were photographed with Drake before their defeats, adding fuel to the legend. The supposed curse became so prominent that fans began pleading with players to avoid him entirely during major competitions. While clearly coincidental, the frequency of high-profile losses following Drake interactions created a cultural phenomenon. Even clubs began referencing it in jest, such as Roma tweeting in 2019 that players were banned from taking photos with Drake until the end of the season. Whether myth or meme, the Drake curse remains one of the most viral superstitions in modern sports culture. The Benfica curse, the Bela Gutmann. Heck's perhaps the most legendary and enduring football curse of all time is the one said to haunt SL Benfica, one of Portugal's most storied clubs. The myth dates back to 1962, when Hungarian manager Bela Gutmann led Benfica to their second consecutive European Cup victory. Shortly after, he asked the club's board for a pay raise. When they refused, he left and allegedly declared, "Not in 100 years from now will Benfica ever be European champions again." Since then, Benfica have lost 8 European finals and have not lifted another continental trophy. These losses include 1963 European Cup final versus Milan, 1965 versus Inter, 1968 versus Manchester United, 1983 UEFA Cup final versus Anderlecht, 1988 European Cup final versus PSV, lost on penalties, 1990 versus AC Milan, 2013 UEFA Europa League final versus Chelsea, 2014 final versus Sevilla, again lost on penalties. What makes the curse especially compelling is the dramatic nature of these defeats. Late goals, missed penalties, and last-minute heartbreaks have characterized Benfica's near misses. Despite fielding strong squads over the decades and reaching finals, they've been consistently denied victory on the European stage. In 1990, before the final against AC Milan, club legend Eusebio even visited Gutmann's grave to pray for the curse to be lifted, but Benfica still lost. No club has reached so many finals without winning one since. Whether it's psychological pressure, tactical shortcomings, or pure coincidence, the Bela Gutmann curse has become an inseparable part of Benfica's history, and one of football's most chilling myths, the Harry Kane curse, the trophy that never comes. Few myths in modern football are as strangely persistent as the Harry Kane trophy curse. Despite being one of the most consistent and prolific strikers in the world, Harry Kane has never lifted a major team trophy in his professional career, neither with club nor country. This recurring failure across multiple competitions and teams has led to the widespread belief that Kane is cursed. Kane began his senior career at Tottenham Hotspur, where he quickly became the club's talisman. He won the Premier League Golden Boot 3 times, scored over 200 league goals, and broke multiple long-standing records. Yet during his time at Spurs, the team failed to win a single trophy. They lost in the 2015 League Cup final, the 2019 Champions League final, and multiple FA Cup semi-finals. In all of these, Kane was either ineffective, injured, or marked out of the game. In 2023, Kane transferred to Bayern Munich, a club known for its ruthless winning culture and 11 straight Bundesliga titles. It was seen as a guaranteed fix. Finally, a trophy was within reach. But in Kane's very first season, Bayern lost the league to Bayer Leverkusen by a wide margin, exited the DFB Pokal early, and were eliminated in the Champions League semi-final. It was the first season in 12 years that Bayern finished without a single trophy, and the first season Kane joined. To add more weight to the myth, Kane also reached a European Championship final with England in 2021. They lost on penalties. He was part of the 2018 World Cup squad that lost in the semi-finals. In 2022, he missed a critical penalty in the quarterfinal against France, sending England home again. The pattern is too consistent for fans to ignore. Despite individual brilliance, Kane's presence is now jokingly referred to as a curse by rival fans and even the media. His name is often used in memes about almost winning. Whether it's just coincidence or mental pressure at critical moments, the Harry Kane trophy curse has become one of football's most bizarre and unfortunate myths. Arsenal never won UCL. Among Europe's elite clubs, few have suffered as long and frustrating a relationship with the UEFA Champions League as Arsenal Football Club. Despite decades of qualifying for the tournament under legendary manager Arsène Wenger, the club has never won it, and often exited in dramatic, painful, or inexplicable fashion. This long-standing pattern has given rise to the belief in the Arsenal UCL curse. Arsenal first qualified for the Champions League under Wenger in 1998-99, and from that point on, made 19 consecutive appearances. Despite regular qualification and some strong squads, they repeatedly stumbled in the knockout rounds. The most infamous chapter came in 2006, when Arsenal reached their first and only Champions League final. They took a 1-0 lead against Barcelona, even after being reduced to 10 men following Jens Lehmann's red card. For over an hour they held on, but collapsed late in the match, conceding twice and losing 2-1. Many saw it as their best ever chance, and the heartbreak from that loss still echoes today. But the curse didn't stop there. In the years that followed, Arsenal became serial victims of the round of 16. From 2011 to 2017, they were eliminated in 7 consecutive round of 16 ties. They drew Barcelona multiple times, as well as Bayern Munich, against whom they suffered heavy aggregate defeats, most notably 10-2 across 2 legs in 2017, their worst in the tournament. Even when Arsenal performed well in the group stages, they seemed destined to face a European giant early in fall. The timing of injuries, defensive collapses, and moments of poor discipline contributed to the feeling that something beyond logic was holding them back. After 2017, Arsenal failed to qualify for the Champions League at all, spending years in the Europa League instead. It wasn't until the 2023-24 season that they returned, and again, they were eliminated in the quarterfinals by Bayern Munich, renewing the myth that no matter the squad, the manager, or the era, Arsenal are cursed in the Champions League. The Zlatan Champions League curse. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is one of the most dominant and consistent strikers of the 21st century. He has won league titles in the Netherlands, Italy, Spain, and France, and has scored over 500 career goals. Yet despite playing for some of the biggest clubs in Europe, including Ajax, Juventus, Inter Milan, Barcelona, AC Milan, and Paris Saint-Germain, Zlatan has never won the UEFA Champions League. This long-standing anomaly has given rise to the myth known as the Zlatan Champions League curse. What makes the myth especially eerie is the way clubs often went on to win the tournament just after Zlatan left. The most famous case occurred in 2009 to 2010, when Zlatan left Inter Milan for Barcelona. That same season, Inter, under Jose Mourinho, won the treble, including the Champions League, with Diego Milito leading the line in Zlatan's former role. Then, in 2010 to 2011, Zlatan left Barcelona and returned to Italy with AC Milan. That season, Barcelona went on to win the Champions League again, without him. This pattern of clubs winning Europe's biggest prize immediately after his departure further solidified the myth. At Paris Saint-Germain, Zlatan helped elevate the club to domestic dominance, but never progressed beyond the quarterfinals in the Champions League. He left in 2016. In 2020, PSG reached the final, again without him. Fans and media alike have pointed to this strange coincidence, noting that Zlatan's incredible domestic success stands in stark contrast to his European record. While the Champions League is notoriously difficult to win and influenced by many factors, the repeated near misses and post-departure triumphs have made the Zlatan curse a myth too consistent for fans to ignore.